This is the EVP Podcast.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the last episode of the year of the EVP Podcast.
It is.
It is the last episode.
And it's almost Christmas time.
It's almost Christmas time is here.
It's about that time. Are
Yes.
you ready for Christmas?
Sure.
Did you buy all your gifts you're going to buy?
Yeah, I brought the one gift for the one person that I was buying gifts for. I don't do Christmas, man.
It's not my favorite holiday, but I like Christmas time.
You obviously didn't work in retail for 10 years.
No, I didn't. I could see I could see how working in retail could really,
Yeah. seeing people's true nature during Christmas time, that's supposed to be a happy time of the year where everyone is angry and upset.
You know what, though? It's not that crazy at stores anymore, though.
I don't like going to stores.
Exactly. Amazon, right?
Sure. Yeah,
Or
that's
online
actually where I
shopping.
bought the presents that I got.
That's where I buy most of my presents now.
Yeah, I've actually heard that recently, that the stores aren't as busy.
I was driving around on Black Friday. It wasn't even nuts.
Yeah, I've worked so many Black Fridays, just seeing how crazy and frantic people get about deals that aren't really deals. Like,
Yeah.
when I worked at Sports Authority, I'm going to talk bad about them because they're out of business. They closed down a couple years ago. Like 8 years ago, they went out of business. They would literally get garbage products in that we never sold year-round as our doorbusters.
That's, usually what you're getting is crap product for that crap price.
Like one of the treadmills they got in one year as a doorbuster didn't have like automatic incline. You literally had to get off of it, and it had the legs on the bottom. They had to pull the pin and adjust it, put the pin back in. That was how you adjusted the incline. Yeah. It was, they got cheap stuff that they didn't normally sell, and that was the doorbusters. And I'm sure that's still what the companies do nowadays. Or have you even seen those signs where it's like, they do the price was this and now it's on sale for this, and it's like the same price.
Yeah. So
Amazon jacks up their prices and then says it's on sale for the cheaper price.
Yeah. I get my stuff early, and I buy myself stuff year round. So yeah, it ain't the same no more.
Yeah,
It's better. It's better this way.
Well, I think the old vid had something to do with that.
Probably, and it is pretty convenient. I dig
Everyone
it.
got used to online shopping, and you got those a-holes that. So get this. I was looking at those Lifesaver story like Christmas books.
Yeah.
You remember those?
Nostalgia.
Right. So Smith on their website, if I went and picked it up at the store, it was like $3.49 at the time I was looking at it. Amazon, people were selling them for $10 a piece. And I'm just like, yeah, that's you greedy bastards. And the sad thing is people are buying them because you look at it and it'll tell you like over 1,000 sold in the last like 2 weeks. And it's like, geez, Louise.
That's crazy. But if you can't get your hands on it in your local area,
I guess it makes sense.
Some people pay the price.
They obviously will. I don't know. It's just working retail for 10 years. What's a great way to start the episode is by bringing it down with my hatred for Christmas.
Grinch style.
To me, it's just another day. Like Thanksgiving is like the only one I really celebrate, and it's just because I eat a lot of food.
I like Halloween a lot.
I don't know. It's just, dude, working in retail for 10 years and then working the swing shift for 10 years, I'm just never around for holidays. I'm always at work.
Doing Squatch stuff.
Yep.
Well, I'm out here having fun all the time. So
You're having the fun for us.
I could do all the fun stuff. I could do all the markets and festivities, all the good stuff.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
I did go to the Oddities Expo. That was fun.
A Christmas expo.
I did go to the Christmas Expo. So I do some Christmas stuff. I bought food at the Christmas Expo.
That's usually what I end up buying at any of those expos anyways.
That was fun. Yeah.
Well, where are we going on this episode?
All over the place.
We're hopping around.
Look, a couple years ago, we brought you an episode about Krampus.
Old Krampus.
Yep, old Krampy ass. Last year, we read random Christmas stories. This year, we're going back to creatures.
Yeah, creatures.
All over Europe.
All the Christmas creatures.
A bunch of Christmas creatures from all over Europe.
Because that's where Christmas started.
Sure. Probably.
It did.
Yeah, actually it did. It was based on the winter solstice, which is a pagan holiday.
Exactly, which all these guys are all related to pagan scares.
They actually are.
Yeah.
So, do you want to go first or do you want me to?
Well, Why don't you go ahead and go first?
Okay, well, let's start in Iceland.
Well, we didn't even introduce ourselves, did we?
I'm Beaker.
It's Ghosty over here.
We're 5-6 minutes in. If you didn't know who we are, now you do.
This is a fun one for the end of the year.
Look, we got into the eggnog a little bit early. That's how we celebrate.
I loaded a bowl of mistletoe.
I'm sure you did. Eggnog. It's got rum in it. It could have rum.
It better have rum.
The good eggnog has rum in it. So yeah, no, let's start off. Let's go to Iceland first. We're in Iceland.
We're in Iceland.
All right. So the first person I got here is a creature or a person, a woman named Gryla. Gryla.
I like Gryla.
Let's go with Gryla. I looked all these up yesterday and I forgot them, all the pronunciation. So anyway, she's an ogress. It's a female ogre. I just mansplained that. She's an ogress who is enormous and her appearance is quite repulsive. She has an appetite for the flesh of disobedient children that she cooks in a large pot. Old poems describe her as a beggar that would walk around asking parents for their disobedient children. She can be either bribed with food or she can be chased away. So it doesn't sound too scary to me.
No.
If I could just give her food. I like to cook, so it's no problem for me getting her to go away. Let's see. Originally, she lived in a small cottage, but in later poems, she ended up being forced out of the town that she was in and into a cave. Current day stories say that she can detect children who have been misbehaving year-round. She also comes down from the mountains during Christmas time to search the nearby towns. She leaves her cave, hunts children, and carries them home in her giant sack. She devours children as her favorite snack, and her favorite dish is a stew of naughty children. And according to legend, there is never a shortage of food for her. So, I mean, I guess between naughty children and being bribed to go away, yeah, she's well fed.
So she sounds like Iceland's female version of Krampus.
Kind of, yeah. I don't think he ate the children.
He beat the shit out of
He
them.
did beat the shit out of him with his reed stick or whatever it was.
He beat the hell out of these kids.
Out of him. You're bad. Krampus will take you away in his sack and he'll beat the shit out of you. Gryla, she'll eat you.
She'll eat the shit out of you. Yeah.
Now, she was married a couple times, actually. So the only husband's name that I ever got was her third husband, who was Lepaluli. And if I'm saying that wrong, I apologize. But dude was lazy as shit. He stayed mostly at home in the cave. He was also the father of all the Yule lads, which we'll get into in a minute here. It is said that Gryla actually had children with her other husbands, but they're never mentioned. Apparently, they're not important.
Well, it's probably too much to keep track of.
I mean, she had 13 kids with Lepaluli here, this lazy son of... All he's good for is
pumping that Gryla.
Yep.
Pumping her full of kids.
Doing the dirty work and then just sitting around being lazy.
They call that a hobosexual now.
Okay. That's a new one. Now, there's also the Yule cat. Some stories say the Yule cat's kind of its own separate thing. And then some stories say that the Yule cat is actually the pet of Gryla and Lepaluli here.
Well, it makes sense if they have the Yule lads. They probably have the Yule cat.
See, like I said, some stories say the Yule cat's its own separate thing, does its own thing. Some stories say the cat belongs to Gryla. So the Yule cat is actually this huge and vicious cat who lurks around the snowy countryside during Christmas time. It eats people, especially children, who have not received any new clothes to wear before Christmas Eve, or children that haven't done their chores. Now, it's said that kids who worked hard throughout the year were treated to fresh garments just before the new year. And those who didn't were considered lazy, and the Yule cat could feed off of this laziness, right? So what I think is interesting about this, if the Yule cat was Gryla's pet, right, and it eats lazy children, but they're totally cool with Lepaluli being a lazy ass sitting in the cave.
Yeah, why? Well, he's not a kid.
No, he's not a kid. So I guess it's okay. Once you're an adult, you can be lazy as you want, but once you're a kid,
he's probably swinging meat.
Look, you need to be good. You need to do your chores, and not be lazy, or Gryla or the Yule Cat's going to eat you.
But when you grow up, you don't, as long as you're doing that thing for Gryla.
Apparently, you can be as lazy as long as you're producing children for her. And apparently, they're all boys. 13 boys in a row. That's a miracle.
I like how these are all going to be the translated names.
Yes. So the Yule lads, they were the sons of Gryla and Lepaluli. There were 13 pranksters who would steal from or harass people. They all have descriptive names that convey their favorite way of harassing people. They are said to arrive one by one, and on the final 13 nights leading up to Christmas. They leave small gifts in the shoes of children that children have put out on their windowsills. But if the children has been disobedient, they would actually leave a rotten potato instead. I personally would prefer coal because that's actually useful. Rotten potato, I don't know what you're going to do with that. So that's actually...
Make vodka out of it.
Yeah, maybe. Originally, they were portrayed as kidnappers of children who were misbehaving during the Christmas season, along with their prankster activities. But in modern times, they have been depicted in a more benevolent role. They're generally portrayed wearing late medieval Icelandic clothing, but are sometimes shown in costumes traditionally worn by Santa Claus, especially at children's events. Now, we're going to go through the 13 Yule lads here real quick. I did not bother putting the Icelandic names in the notes here because I'm not going to try to pronounce. We would butcher them, I can guarantee it. So, fortunately, Wikipedia had the translated names, so that's the names you're going to get. But so they would start on December 12th, and the Yule lads again you would get one that arrived each day, and each one would stay for 13 days. So it's at one point in time, like just
but if you were a good kid, you didn't have to worry about nothing.
Oh, this is just they just came pretty much.
Oh, so they're going to harass you no matter what?
Yeah, they're pranksters. They just harass people.
Damn, these...
Originally, they would like kidnap bad kids, but now they're just pranksters that just show up. So we're going to start with the first one here. His name was
Sheepcoat Claude?
Sheepcoat Claude. And so what he would do, I think sheepcoat Claude. Claude? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. See, even the English, we're having a problem with the English ones, so there's no way in hell we're going to do the Icelandic ones. So he would show up on December 12th. He would leave on December 25th. And his role, or what he would do, is he would harass sheep, but he's kind of impaired by his stiff peg legs.
So he's just running around with both peg legs, trying to run around, chase sheep?
Yeah, he's got this peg leg little lad running around chasing sheep.
So if you didn't have sheep, you're okay as a kid.
I guess.
You didn't have to worry about that guy.
In Iceland, they probably all had sheep, though. Maybe. In small little towns. Who do we got next?
We got Gully Gawk. And Gully Gawk comes the next day, December 13th. Leaves on the 26th. Oh, he's around for...
Yeah, all of them are around for 13 days.
Okay.
So at least at one point in time, just for like one day, you get all 13 of them.
Oh, damn. So he hides in the gullies, waiting for an opportunity to sneak into the cow shed and steal milk.
That bastard.
Hopefully you got enough cows to help him out and you don't got to worry about that guy.
13 days he's trying to steal milk. The next we got Stubby. He comes on the December 14th. He leaves on the December 27th. He's abnormally short, and he steals pans to eat the crusts that are left on them.
Well, then we have old Spoon Liquor. And he comes on the 15th, leaves on the 28th, and he steals and licks wooden spoons. And he is extremely thin due to malnutrition.
Obviously, people aren't leaving enough food on their spoons for him.
Well, if you keep your house clean and do your chores, you don't got to worry about him.
Right. See, I mean, maybe he's not. He should do what the next one does. Pot scraper. He steals leftovers from pots. So I guess he's full because I'm sure people are leaving stuff in their pots. But he shows up on the 16th of December, and he'll leave December 29th.
And now we got old Bowl Liquor. And he hides under the beds, waiting for someone to put down their asker, which was a bowl with a lid used instead of dishes, which he then steals. And he arrives on the 17th and leaves on the 30th.
Okay, next we have Door Slammer. Guess what he does?
I'm going to guess he slams doors.
Yep, he slams doors. He really enjoys doing it during the night to wake people up. He'll be there on the 18th, and he'll leave on the 31st.
Well, then there's old Skier
Gobbler?
Gobbler.
Yeah, sure.
He has a great affinity for the Skier, which is, it's like yogurt.
Yeah.
And he arrives on the 19th and leaves on the 1st.
Next, we've got a good old sausage swiper. He hides in the rafters, and he snatches all the sausages as they're being smoked. He'll be there on the 20th, and he leaves January 2nd.
I'd be looking out for him. Then there's old window peeper. This guy.
He's looking out for you.
He is a snoop who looks through windows in search of things to steal. And he comes on the 21st and leaves on the 3rd.
Next, we got doorway sniffer. He's got an abnormally large nose and an acute sense of smell, which he uses to locate leaf bread. He'll be there on the 22nd, goes home on the 4th of January.
This guy sounds scary. The old meat hook over
Meat
here.
hook.
And he uses a hook to steal meat. He arrives on the 23rd and leaves on the 5th.
All right, and last up, we've got candle stiller. He'd follow children around in order to steal their candles, and back then the candles were made out of tallow, which made the candles edible. He'll be there on the 24th, and he leaves on January 6th.
So there you go. The 25th is when everybody's there, right?
24th.
Yes, you're right.
24th, I guess the first one leaves on the 25th, so there's a possibility of all 13 of them being there for 2 days. But 24th for sure has all 13 of them. That is all we have for good old Iceland and Gryla and their peeps.
Next, we're going to Wales.
Let's go to Wales.
And that's where old Mary Lloyd is.
Mary Lloyd. What is Mary Lloyd?
I don't know. Sounds like somebody you'd find in a phone book or a realtor. Sounds like a realtor.
It actually kind of does.
Well, she's not.
I believe it's pronounced Mary Lloyd. It's spelled Marilwyd.
That sounds about right.
Mary Lloyd is what the translator said, so that's what I'm going with.
A horse skull that is decorated with ribbons and attached to a pole, a white sheet that drapes down to conceal the pole and the skull. Occasionally, the horse's head is made out of wood or paper instead of the skull.
It actually hides the person carrying it, not the skull itself.
Oh, okay.
You skipped a line. I totally just put that in the episode. Yeah. So the drape comes down and hides the pole and the person carrying the pole, and it's attached to the back of the skull.
Oh, okay. And occasionally the horse's head is made out of wood or paper instead of skull. Sometimes a string or lever is attached to the jaw so it is able to open and close. Glass has also been used in the eye sockets to make it look like it has eyes. Traditionally, the making of the Mary Lloyd was a communal event with many locals being involved in its decoration. And this is performed during the winter festivities, especially around Christmas and New Year. The precise date on which it is performed varies between villages and is some village it goes on for several consecutive nights. It also said that sometimes the head is buried throughout the year and is only dug up for use during the Christmas season. It usually began at dusk and it lasted into the night. The party consisted of 4 to 7 men who would have colored ribbons and rosettes attached to their clothing, and they sometimes wore a broad sash around their waist. So they're dancing all around this thing? Okay. There was usually...
So one person is the Mary Lloyd.
Okay. Okay.
So one person's hiding underneath this cloak, holding the skull with the pole. So some person's hiding underneath it, being the Mary Lloyd, and then you've got a bunch of other characters, and we're going to talk about a couple of those here.
Okay. So, all right. So there was usually a smartly dressed leader. So that's who you're talking, the leader.
Yep.
Who carried a staff, stick, or whip. Sometimes there would be other characters, such as the Merryman, who played music, and Punch and Judy with black faces and brightly dressed. Punch carried a long metal fire iron, and Judy had a besom. What's that?
I have no idea.
A besom?
A besom? Whatever it is, Judy carried it. And the thing is like, so all of these characters, it was, like back in the day with like Shakespeare, with all of his plays, even the female parts, they were all played by men. So yes. Judy was a dude. Well, played by a guy, but it was a female character.
Depicting a female, yeah. So the Mary Lloyd party would approach a house and sing a song in which they asked to be let in. The people living in the house would then make excuses as to why they were not allowed in the home. The party would sing a second verse, and the debate between the two sides would continue until the people in the house ran out of excuses. The party would then be allowed to enter, and they were provided with ale and food. There have been accounts that during the song, Punch and Judy would make a bunch of noise. Punch would tap on the ground to the rhythm of the music and hit the door with a poker. While Punch was doing that, Judy would brush the ground, house walls, and windows with a broom. The homeowners had to make Punch promise that he would not touch their fireplace before he could enter. Otherwise, before he left the house, he would rake out the fire with his poker. And once inside, the entertainment would continue with the Mary Lloyd running around the neighborhood, snapping its jaw, creating havoc and frightening children. The leader would pretend that he was trying to restrain it. The merry man played music and entertained the people in the house.
It would run around neighing and snapping its jaws.
So they would just kind of force their way into a house eventually.
Pretty much. I guess it was considered an honor if your house was chosen.
Okay, and so they eventually knew that the party was going to happen.
Yeah.
And so they would be ready for it, and they would just play along with excuses. Okay.
Pretty much, yeah.
All
so
right.
they'd sing this whole song as like, I don't know how the song went. It would be cool to actually hear a Mary Lloyd song. But I guess they would sing and be like, let us in. And they're like, no, we can't let you in because we don't have socks on. I don't know what excuses you would use back then. But
so you were kind of cool then if the Mary Lloyd showed up at your house.
From what I understood, it seemed like it was quite the honor if the party showed up at your house.
Okay, and then as they're traveling from house to house, they're scaring the shit out of kids.
Yeah.
I like this.
Yeah, I know.
I wish this would happen. So that's what carolers turned into?
Probably, maybe.
Like this eventually turned into caroling?
This sounds way cooler than caroling.
This is way cooler than caroling.
Because if I go to someone's house and I start singing songs and I'm pretending to be this Mary Lloyd, which is just, like I said, it's a horse's skull.
Yeah, but pretty.
Sometimes, it's all prettied up. It's decorated. There's pictures of it. We'll put it on the social media. But, it sounds like a way better party than just going around singing songs in the cold for people that don't want to hear it.
Yeah, I would be honored if the Mary Lloyd showed up.
I would be too.
I would be ready.
I'd have to stock up my beer, though.
Yeah, I'd have to get ready to party.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty badass.
I'd be like, I'm going to live at your house for the night.
Like, I can't wait till Mary Lloyd shows up.
That actually sounds like a really cool tradition.
Yeah,
apparently it was, according to the one website, it was like, this is scary, but I don't see this being scary. I think that it might be scary for kids. If you're chasing a kid around with this skull head, like snapping the jaw at kids, I can see that being scary for kids. For adults, though, it sounds like a lot of fun.
Exactly. And it'd be funny watching the kids get scared.
Yeah, no, that'd be great.
Oh,
because they're not my kids.
Exactly.
Somebody else's kids. I'm fine with that. So let's head over to France next.
All right, let's go.
We're going to talk about good old Hans Trapp. He was the Christmas scarecrow. Yeah. So this dude, he is said to have lived in Alsace. I don't know how to pronounce
Alsace.
Alsace. This is French, so it could be anything.
Alsace.
Alsace. I don't know. Alsace. I apologize. I'm like bad with pronunciations. But anyways, so he lived there during the 1400s, and he was a rich, powerful, and merciless man who was feared by the people in the town. His thirst for power was so great that he even turned to making deals with the devil to enchant his power and status. Now, when the Pope found out about this, he ended up excommunicating Trapp, and then he was then banished from the town, and his wealth and lands were confiscated from him. He ended up building a makeshift home in the mountains of Bavaria in Germany, where he continued to brood, and his evil desires festered. He developed a hankering to try the taste of human flesh, so he would disguise himself with straw and then wait on lonely roads for his victims, thus becoming the Christmas scarecrow.
It sounds like a horror movie.
Right? I think they should make one. So one day while this dude's chilling on the side of the road, there was a 10-year-old boy that happened to be coming down the road. Trapp ended up stabbing him with a very sharp stick and then took him back to his house where he sliced his body up into pieces and roasted it. Now, before he had a chance to eat it, irony happened here. He was struck by lightning and he was killed. It is said that today that naughty children are warned that Hans Trapp's spirit lingers on and that he may visit them in his scarecrow disguise if they don't behave.
Definitely sounds more like a scary movie now.
It does. So here's the fun thing is they think that Hans Trapp is actually based on a real person named Hans von Tortha. And this dude was actually a knight that lived in France there from 1450 to 1503. He had 2 castles in Palestine, the French Germany territory.
Palestine.
Palatine. Palestine. Reading is hard too. Palatine. So the French German territory. Up until he got into an argument with the church over the property in one of them. The abbot would not concede certain properties to von Tortha. So the knight stopped the supply of water to the nearby town by building a dam.
That's what you get.
In retaliation, the abbot had the dam destroyed, which then ended up causing the villagers' homes and businesses to become flooded. This dispute continued until von Tortha was summoned by the Pope, and that's when he was excommunicated. Now, there's actually no record of this von Tortha becoming a cannibal, or that he would even hurt children or hunt children while he was dressed up like a scarecrow. Now, he was excommunicated by Pope Innocent the Eighth, and then when he was summoned to Alexander the Sixth papal court, he actually refused to attend. Instead, he sent a letter to the Pope, which expounded on his faith, and he actually accused the Pope of all sorts of impure acts.
Which we now know most likely was happening.
It could have been. I mean, this is in the 1400s, so I don't know. But so after he was excommunicated, he still did pretty well for himself. He served the French royal court, and he was actually given the, and I'm going to butcher this too, Chevalier d'Or by King Louis XII. Now, when he died, all of the charges against him were dropped or reversed, and he was forgiven. Not only was Hans Trapp based on him, local legends also say that he is the Black Knight, which is a specter that sometimes accompanies Santa Claus and punishes children who are unworthy of receiving gifts.
I don't know what the Chevalier d'Or is.
I have no idea either.
But
I probably could have looked that up, but I didn't. It's too late now.
Yeah, but I wonder if it was. Man, that sucks that they forgive him after he dies.
Yeah.
So they know that he wasn't lying. He did no wrong. So he was more mad at them. That's why his ghost would be mad at them, not kids. So yeah, I don't think anything was based on him. I like the scary movie version. Yeah, I don't like the night version. I want the scary movie version of him. All right.
Well, no, the night version, that was actually a person.
Right.
So the dude was actually like excommunicated by the church because he was fighting with the abbot.
Yeah, but I like the just random story where he's just some dude and killed somebody. I don't like
you like the story better where he killed a 10-year-old and they got struck by lightning.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the version I like better.
So I tried Googling that, and everything is coming back to me in French. So,
well,
it's a gift from the gods for the kings of kings.
Oh,
so they gave him a really fancy thing.
Okay.
So, like, even though after he was excommunicated from the church, the real guy was still pretty well off.
Okay. Well, then that would make no sense that this story would relate to that dude whatsoever.
Well, they say he's based on this guy because.
Yeah.
I mean, the similarities there is that they were both excommunicated by the Pope.
Yeah.
And in the Hans Trapp story, he was stripped of all of his property and his belongings because he made deals with the devil.
Yeah, I like that better.
So, I mean, there's a lot of people that are loosely based. I mean, we talked about the Pope's exorcist, and we had a whole episode on
but see how Hollywood just makes it better.
Yeah, right.
See, so yeah, that's the Hollywood version.
So all they did is like, okay, so this guy was kicked out of the church, but he still did pretty well for himself. Let's turn him into a child killing scarecrow.
Yeah, kid killing scarecrow.
I mean, I can see the flip there. I can see how you get that, right?
Yeah, perfect. It aligns perfectly.
I mean, it's done quite a bit. It's like this is based on a true story, and like maybe 1% of the story that it's based on is true, and then the rest of it is all fabricated.
The town they use.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, we're going to Eastern Europe now. Well, this one.
Good luck. I gave you the hard one.
Calicanceros. Or Calicanceroi.
Yeah.
Either or, tomato, tomato, right? Well, they are malevolent goblins in Southeast Europe, and the stories about them can be found in Greece, Bulgaria, Turkey, Serbia, Albania, Bosnia, and Cyprus. They are believed to dwell underground, but they come to the surface during the winter solstice, during the 25th of December to January 6th, during which time the sun ceases its seasonal movement. There are two theories on how they got their name. First is that it is derived from the Greek term kalos kenseros, or beautiful centaur. The second theory is that it comes from the Turkish term karakankolos, which means black bloodsucker or werewolf.
Yep. So it's either a beautiful centaur or a blood-sucking werewolf.
Guess it depends on what genes it has.
Pretty much.
Okay. In the Greek folklore, they believe that the Calicanceroi stay underground, sawing the trunk of the world tree, so that it and the earth will collapse. Is that big, the tree of life thing?
Pretty much.
Okay,
yeah.
So that's what they believe is inside the earth?
Yeah. Well, the
Okay.
roots, obviously.
Okay,
The
okay.
roots and the trunk are going to be part of, well, the trunk would be above ground, but the roots and that.
It is said that when they are close to being finished, Christmas dawns and they are able to come to the surface. They forget about the tree and come to bring trouble to humans. On the Epiphany, January 6th, the sun starts to move again, and they have to go back. So during their time away, the tree has healed itself, and they have to start sawing all over again. This is believed to happen every year.
Yep.
So it takes them about almost a full year to gnaw through those roots, and then winter
in
solstice.
12 days, it heals itself.
Yeah, it's magic.
It is magic. That's why it's the world tree.
Okay, yeah, because you can't. They just keep trying every year, but nothing changes. They are believed to be creatures of the night, and there are many ways people can protect themselves from the Calicanceros. One way was to put a colander on the doorstep to trick them. It was believed that they could not count more than 2. 3 was a holy number, and if they said it, they would have to kill themselves. They would sit on the doorstep all night, counting each hole until the sun came up, and they would have to hide. How do they know that they can't count past 2?
Because like it said, 3 is a holy number. So if they count 3, they'd have to kill themselves. So they would just count to 2. Mm-hmm. They would spend all night, I guess, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
In some cultures, they would throw. Okay, this is a Lukamon. Oh, this is the Greek donuts.
Yeah.
Okay, a donut-like dessert filled with syrup and sausages on the roof, and sing a specific song. Once this was done, the Calicanceroi would eat them and leave. Another way was to leave the fire burning in the fireplace all night so they couldn't get in. In some areas, people would burn the Yule log for the duration of the 12 days. In other areas, they would throw foul-smelling shoes into the fire so stench would repel them. Or they would mark their door with a black cross on Christmas Eve and burn incense. The Yule log, that burns for 12 days. According to legend, if a child was born during the 12 days of Christmas, they were in danger of turning into a Calicanceroi. The way to prevent this from happening was to bind the baby in tresses of garlic or straw, or to singe the child's toenails. Also, if you were born on a Saturday, you were able to see and talk to the Calicanceroi.
Yep.
Yeah, I can see how they don't really talk about these guys much anymore.
Nope, but there was different versions of them all around in Europe here.
True. Let's hear about the Serbian. When you go for this guy.
Okay, in Serbian folklore, the 12 days of Christmas used to be called the Unbaptized Days, and they were considered to be a time when demonic forces of all kinds were more active and more dangerous than usual. People would try not to attract their attention, and they also would not go out late at night. One demon was called the Karakanduzula, which was a heavy, squat, and ugly creature. If it found someone outside at nighttime, on one of the unbaptized days, it would jump on that person's back and demand to be carried wherever it wanted to be carried. It would only get off the person's back and run away when they heard the rooster crowing to announce that dawn was coming.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these were different names in all of these different regions. We're just going to go with Calicanteros.
Yeah.
Just so it's easier for us.
Yeah. We don't know every dialect. We don't even know if we're saying the one we're saying right anyways.
Probably not. Let's go with Turkish folklore.
Okay. In the Turkish folklore, they were a type of boogeyman, usually more troublesome and rather harmless, but were sometimes evil. They had thick, hairy, fur like Sasquatch. They would appear on the first 10 days of the dreadful cold, and they would stand on murky corners and ask seemingly ordinary questions to passers-by. In order to get away, you would have to answer each question using the word kara, which means black, or you would risk being struck dead. They would also call people out during the cold nights by imitating voices of loved ones. The victims would freeze to death if they were unable to wake up from the charm. That one's more scary.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that one is kind of scary. So they just kind of hang out like creepers in the corners. Like, hey, you.
Hey, come here.
I got something to ask.
I got to ask you a question.
But you have to answer saying the word black first.
Right, yeah, you have to use the word black in the answer somewhere. I would assume it had to be in there somewhere.
Yeah.
You just have to use the word black. So you'd have to use kara or black somewhere in your answer.
Okay.
It's like, how do you get here? You go down that black road there. You know what I mean? Like, if you didn't use the word black, they would kill you.
Yeah. Better Simon said, or
what I think is even, I don't know what's worse, like them just some creeper on a corner being asking you random questions, or the fact that they're like mimics and they like pretend to be someone that you know and care about, like singing a song or telling you to come outside, and then causing you to just stand out there and freeze to death.
You're in a charm.
Right?
Yep. That's how they get you.
Those jerks. Sounds kind of cool.
Like another scary movie, though.
I know. They could be. They might have put all of this stuff in that movie Krampus that came out a couple years ago.
Not this many.
Not this many, no. In Bulgarian folklore, they're actually human-like with a hairy body. They had a tail, and they had a large head with horns. Sometimes they were a one-eyed being with one leg, or they were a man with a horse's head. They were shapeshifters, and they might appear as a dog, a man, a sheep, or a calf. They lived in caves, rivers, or abandoned water mills, and they would only come out at night. A Bulgarian custom called Luke was performed to scare away the evil creatures and to avoid contact with it. And then in Albanian folklore, they were creatures that would go around in January, weighted down with chains and giving off a very foul, deadly breath.
Yeah.
And that's the Calicanteros.
I like the Bulgarian guy.
The Bulgarian guy?
The Bulgarian version.
I kind of like the Serbian one.
Let's see.
If you're outside during the unbaptized days, they just jumped on your back. It's like carrying me places.
Yeah, that would be kind of funny to see.
I mean, that's probably the one I'd want to encounter the most. It's just a little fat, chubby thing sitting on my back. Yeah, I'll carry you around all night. Whatever. I guess. It might get annoying. At least it's not trying to kill you like the rest of them.
True.
Actually, the Greeks didn't try to kill you either. They were just trying to kill the whole world.
Yeah.
For most of the year. 12 days of the year, they weren't.
Yeah, just during that time. You had to be good, really.
Yeah, I think the Turkish ones would be the ones I would not want to run into. Oh, you didn't say black. Strict. You didn't say black. Dead.
Now you're dead. This one, though. This one is from Austria.
And parts of Germany.
Yeah. Isn't that whole area kind of where
Krampus.
Christmas and Krampus all started?
Yep.
Santa Claus?
Yep.
Because Claus, that's that area, right?
Yep.
Well, this one is the Frau Perkta.
Frau Perkta.
It isn't well known as Krampus these days, which is a shame because this Christmas time goddess, which all around terrifying gal, deserves a lot more press. She's a staple in the alpine regions of southern Germany and Austria, but relatively under the radar in North America. So let's get to know Frau Perkta a little better, shall we?
Sure.
Frau Perkta was also known as just Bertha or Bertha. Big Bertha.
Big Bertha.
I bet you that's...
That's probably where this came from.
And has also been called the Spinstubenfrau,
Spinstubenfrau.
the spinning room lady. She is often depicted with a beaked nose made of iron, dressed in rags, perhaps carrying a cane, and generally resembles a decrepit old crone. But this old crone packs a mighty wallop and carries a long knife hidden under her skirt. Legend has it that you'd better get all your flax spun by 12th night, which is January 6th. For when the Christmas season was over, it would be time to set up the big upright loom, at which time you must have enough thread to wrap it and start your weaving. And to warp it and start... and what's Frau Perkta's punishment for those lazy ladies who haven't finished all their weaving? In Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, there were numerous tales of Frau Perkta trampling and even setting fire to half-spun fibers. And if should you irritate her, like say not only is your flax not spun, but your house is a total mess, this domestic goddess witch hates messy house. And you've even failed to leave out a traditional bowl of porridge for her, well then, her rampaging will extend far beyond your slovenly spinning room. She'll do nothing less than steal into your bedroom, disembowel you, and replace your guts with rocks and straw.
So spin your shit.
So, yeah.
Just if you're a woman, though. I guess guys were okay. They had Krampus to worry. No,
the kids had
Kids had Krampus.
So the
women's had Frau Perkta.
Yeah, so once they grow up, like, Frau Perkta's after them now.
Right. The guys are just fine.
Like, I'm going to disembowel you.
So in Iceland, we're cool with the fat, lazy dude in the cave. In Austria, Germany, like, if you're a guy, like, oh, you're fine. Well, if you're able to survive Krampus, you're good. Women, you got Frau Perkta. Spin your shit.
Well, Frau Perkta, she does more than just check up on your spinning. Other legends equate her with the legend of the Wild Hunt and say that she flies through the night sky attended by an army of lost souls, including the demonic-looking Perktin, which looks a lot like Krampus. And the only way to tell them apart is Krampus rides around at St. Nicholas Eve, while the Perktin are around closer to Epiphany and the last 3 Thursdays before Christmas, known as Knocking Nights. There's all sorts of crazy stuff.
I think we mentioned this earlier. Epiphany is January 6th.
Yes, January 6th. Also, among her army are the souls of unbaptized children. Legend has it that if you hear the wind and thunder roaring and rumbling through the mountains on the knocking nights, you are really hearing the sounds of the Perkta leading the wild hunt. That sounds like a pretty good scary movie.
Yeah, I know. There's like so much untapped potential here for haunted Christmas movies or scary Christmas movies. So far, we've got Krampus and like Santa's sleigh.
No, there's Jack Frost.
There's Jack Frost. Well, which one are you talking about?
Not
talking
the
about the Michael Keaton.
Not
one.
Mike Keaton. That's a family movie.
There's
another Jack Frost.
I've seen
low
that
budget
horror.
I started watching it last week. Yeah, it was too.
It's so bad.
I couldn't finish it. And there's
I watched that in the 90s. There was sequels.
There's sequels.
I watched that shit in the 90s.
I
still remember one of the stupid things like this. So in that movie, the guy gets he's like this convict, right? He's like a murderer, and they're transporting him somewhere. The truck slips, crashes into this other truck that has like this toxic chemical.
Well, how did it slip?
I don't remember.
Oh my god!
Dude, I watched this in the 90s.
Yeah, this was so bad. So
I'm surprised I remember this much of it.
He's sitting in the back of the paddy wagon. There's 2 cops driving, 1 cop sitting in the back with him, and it doesn't show him get out of the handcuffs whatsoever. It just has the cops up front talking to the back through like it's the 20s or something. And they start talking to them like, "Hey, you guys okay back there?" And all of a sudden, it's the bad guy who's stabbed the cop, answering back, and they act like it's Like, okay, like they didn't hear that different guy's voice talking.
Low budget. So
he kills everybody. He ends up killing everybody, and then he crashes.
It crashes into this chemical truck or this chemical, and it melts him, and it like infuses his body into the snow. So he's just like this murderous snowman now. And I remember at one point, like, I remember this because of how stupid and cheesy it was. But like, I guess he like melted himself and like climbed into someone's throat, and then like someone came up, asked how that person was doing, and you see them like vomit him back out, and that person dies. And like the line was something like, "Don't eat yellow snow," and I'm just like, this is so cheesy. But keep in mind, I'm watching this in the 90s as a teenager. It was like freaking amazing back then.
Oh God, I couldn't finish it past the part of him melting, and I knew he was turning into the snowman at that point, and I couldn't pay attention anymore.
Yeah, it was so bad. I like I said, I watched this.
I found a whole
over 20 years ago, and I still remember that much of it.
I found a whole bunch of scary horror Christmas movies on Prime or Hulu.
It's probably Prime. Prime has a lot of like B-rated horror films, like Velocipaster. Like, there's Santa Jaws.
Yes, I was just about to say there was a shark one too.
Santa Jaws. I haven't seen any of these, but I just think it's hilarious.
I'm trying to bring myself to watch some of them, and I start it, and it's like I wish I didn't.
But someone this year decided they're like, you know what we really need, because obviously we have all these Halloween horror films. There's My Bloody Valentine, so Valentine's got its own horror films.
Leprechaun.
The Leprechaun. There's a bunch of Christmas ones. Black Knight is another one. This year, someone decided that they needed a Thanksgiving horror film.
There is a couple other
that
ones
just came out in theaters like over Thanksgiving weekend.
Yes, there's that one, The Pilgrim, or
that's a different one, yeah.
But yeah, I did find a couple other ones.
So yeah, while you're taking a break from us because we're going to be off for a couple weeks, go find some of these bad B-rated horror films and tell us what you think about them. We'll probably watch some of them too. We'll try to.
If they're good.
If you can't get through them, I completely understand why.
Or if you have anything scary happen to you during the holiday season,
you should reach out to us on our socials. You can find us at evp.pod at Instagram and Facebook, or you can contact us at evp.pod@gmail.com. And after you've told us about all of your fun, scary stories that happened to you over Christmas, check out our link to ghoststop.com. Buy some ghost hunting gear. I think they still have some of the white Christmas versions of the Ovilus available, I think.
I didn't see that they had the Christmas versions. I didn't look at them yet.
They have white ones. They're actually kind of cool looking. I'd still like my black and red one.
I like it.
But
any of them work.
Go to Ghost Stop, buy some stuff.
All right. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Happy Yuletide. Go see a little play that.
Peace out, butterflies.
This is the EVP Podcast.